Hey, good Thursday morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa with the MLive Morning Weather Update. And the weekend, I gauge a lot of what people are expecting on weekend weather by my friends, my wife, my family, and just they look on their phone, they look at an app. Oh, the weekend doesn't look that great. I heard that a few times. I don't think in places it's as bad as you think. In fact, you might be mildly surprised. Even in the Traverse City area, I've had some friends say, this weekend, what's going on? So let's go to it and show you what is going on. Pretty quiet this morning. So we have a front. Yes, Eric, I am stuffed up for some reason this morning. I have no idea why. Hopefully, I make it through. Uh, so we have a front lying across the southern third of the state, basically Grand Rapids to the Flint area, and that's where a couple of light showers are roaming right now. Those should dry up. That's what happens 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Those dry up, and then we have, I would call it generally a dry day. So, wider perspective shows you the storm system off to the west in the Dakotas. That has to come through our area over the next couple of days. So, we do have rain in the forecast, showers, a few thunder showers to thunderstorms, not looking severe. But not looking widespread either. And I'll show you that the warm front lifts north so that about the southern 2/3 of lower Michigan stays mostly dry. So we'll start with our best short-term model. And you'll see noon today, dry day. Michael Predmore is rubbing it in. He's retired. So every day is a weekend day for him. So this is tonight. In the evening hours, I would say in the Traverse City area, you could have some scattered showers. Meteorologists, we have a saying. I don't know who started it, but it works. Never trust a warm front because they can do some odd things. But I think some showers, nothing robust will develop in northern lower Michigan. Head toward the Mackinac Bridge overnight tonight. This is the middle of the night. Southern Michigan, what I call sidewalk wetters, northern Michigan and the UP, some showers, and becoming more active, more confined. This is noon tomorrow, Traverse City northward. While Cadillac could be mostly dry if it lines up in this situation. And the southern 2/3 of Michigan, mostly dry on Friday as a storm tries to inch in from the south. Now we go to the next model that goes out farther. Now this is a different model, and note that it says about the same thing. This is Friday afternoon. It's noon. And so it says from Traverse City northward showery, and most of it in the UP and up toward Mackinac City. This is Friday. Let's look at Friday afternoon in the south. It says that some showers creep into south of I-94. And then let's go to Saturday with the same model, early afternoon. And again, not as widespread a rain as you'd think, but because there are showers around, that means quite a bit of cloudiness too. Here's that same model and its total rainfall through Saturday at 2 p.m. And you can see that the amounts in lower Michigan are generally light. The amounts across the UP could be quite heavy, western part of the UP. Now we pick up with the next best model. Let's see what we got going on here. Hey, Lisa Collins. Yeah, I don't feel sick. I just woke up stuffed up. So this is our model that we get to look at for the weekend. So this is Friday morning. And I showed you that around the Traverse City area, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Mackinac City, you can expect off and on showers on Friday. Not what I would call an extreme washout. Now, let's get into Saturday. So this is Saturday morning, 8 a.m. That doesn't look terribly wet, does it? This is Saturday, 2 p.m. Doesn't look terribly wet. This is Saturday night. It shows maybe a few spotty showers around northern Lake Michigan, northern lower Michigan. This is Sunday, and it's mostly dry. And this is Sunday night. So you might be quite surprised if you're planning on a very wet weekend. Let's just grab the total precip off of the same model and show you what it does. That gives it a perspective. Northern lower Michigan, you're looking at 1/4 of an inch of rain or more from Houghton Lake northward, Grayling northward, into the Traverse City area, Leelanau County, Glen Arbor. South, some places might not even record a measurable amount of precipitation from Detroit to Ann Arbor, parts of southern lower Michigan. Now, let's look at temperatures. Because there's less rain, it's also somewhat warmer. They all go hand in hand. So today won't be as warm as yesterday in a lot of places, but it'll still be 83 in Grand Rapids and 82 in Jackson and Lansing and near 80 in Ann Arbor. But in the Tri-Cities, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, where we were well into the 80s yesterday, it will be in the 70s, low 70s today. Here's tomorrow. Still that 80-degree line running from, near Big Rapids and Muskegon, eastward toward Flint and southward. This is Saturday. What happened to Traverse City's highs only in the 60s? If you get some sunshine at this time of the year, you're in the 70s in minutes. It's just the way it is. So Saturday, some places with more sunshine could make it into the 80s, while other places around the scattered showers stay in the low to mid 70s. Here's Sunday. So the weekend now, you look at something like this, Grand Rapids 84, 86, or 88. You write down a summery weekend. Ann Arbor 77, 84. Here's Monday. This model's showing quite warm. Makes sense. I think 80s. Traverse City northward, you're still flirting with 80. Tuesday, mid-80s in a lot of places. Wednesday, mid-80s. And this model will react on temperature to what it's forecasting in rainfall. But the point is 80s, June 23rd, 24th. We're going to look at this now. The warmth building in. Okay, so we've kind of covered what we can really accurately forecast the next couple of days. Now, we got to look at the upper air, because I'm telling you, I feel like if that vortex up to the north continues to live northward, which it should, it's only June 12th, then a ridge, a hot dome of air, wants to be in the middle part of the U.S., and Michigan will participate in that at times. So let's look at this. Let's look at the upper airflow, about 15,000 feet up. I'm going to show you a ridge building. I'm going to show you in two ways. I'm going to show you the European model, which we like the best, but it's not great in its deterministic mode. That's the most the set of starting circumstances that they like to use. But 10 days out, it can be flaky just on that one iteration, one starting point. So they start at 51 different ways for us, and then they average those together. That's more important. And if that shows something, demonstrative toward the end, you know that it's probably a pretty good idea. So that's what we're going to look at now. Here is your deterministic mode. Now, so you might be saying, well, the deterministic mode is no good then, right? Not really. It could be correct, and it's not watered down. When you average 51 things together, if a lot of them show a ridge and a lot of them show a little bit smaller ridge, then the ridge is going to look watered down. So we can get to the magnitude of the ridge with this deterministic mode, and if it were to bear out, we turn hot. So here it is. This is Friday, and what you just notice is the atmosphere gradually warming. Mike Light, will the Tigers game on Friday night stay dry? I take it they're in Detroit. Let's just back up for Mike, because I feel like going to a Tigers game is very important in life. It's true. It's right now, and they're doing great. I'm a baseball guy. I'm not a soccer guy. Football, yeah. Okay. Basketball, not so much. Baseball, yes. I watch the College World Series. So here's Fridays, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. This model shows some showers around. It shows nothing right now that would cancel a game, but it's certainly something you will want to watch again tomorrow. Okay, so deterministic mode. So what I'm showing you is that the atmosphere is just gradually building in heights, meaning it's gradually warming. We're now at Monday, June 16th. And then we go to Wednesday. There's a bend. And when these bends come in over the top of a hot dome, that can be severe weather. So we're also in our severe weather season. We're heading into the heart of it because the energy, the warmth is just to our south, and the disturbances still have enough wind energy in them. Once we get into late July and August, it tends to go quieter because that wind energy is lifted as far north as it'll go up into Canada. Now we're into next weekend. Note the fast flow. Note the disturbances that can bring a cold front through Michigan, cool us down for a day. So it's all a timing thing, but note as we get out to June 23rd, now granted, we're starting to get out there on the deterministic mode, but something like this, that's 100 degrees plus from, Fort Wayne, Indiana southward, and that's well into the 90s in the southern half of Michigan. Jet stream's still there though, so this tells me that at least the early periods of heat won't last more than 2 days, and a cold front will come through. Now we're out to June 26th. If someone tells me that that's the look for July and early August, I tell you we have a very warm to on the edge of a hot summer in Michigan, and we have a very hot summer just to our south. Now let's look at the same model in the ensemble mode, 51 tweaks. And so what you see in the yellows and the oranges, hey, you are welcome, Lloyd Irvin. Please hit the share button or however you do it on YouTube. Okay, so now we're at June 19th, and what you're seeing in the oranges, that says that the atmosphere is this much warmer than normal in meters, actually. Let's call it in height. So it says that the atmosphere is expanded. This is June 20th. Note the flat look of the ridge, but note as we go out to June 23rd, everything should be looking flatter in an ensemble, and it's not. It's looking more ridgy. So that tells me that a lot of the 51 iterations have this ridge. This is June 24th. This tells me that the last week in June is going to be a warm to hot one. But again, the upper air flow is close. That means disturbances come in across the UP, a cold front comes down, a wind shift comes down, the 90s slip down into Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio for a day or two, and then work their way back northward. Okay, have I convinced you there's going to be a summer? There will be, and it'll be plenty warm. So start planning, folks, and we'll watch the severe weather for you. Severe weather in Michigan is always a timing thing. We have the ingredients that make me on the lookout, but they for us to avoid. I have to watch my words, because I could say, but for the perfect setting for severe weather, then people say, oh, you meteorologists want tornadoes, and we don't. It's interesting. It's what we do. It's what we want to warn you about, but we don't want tornadoes. So I want to say, let me think of how I can correctly say this. It's all a timing thing. If the puzzle pieces come together, we could have meaningful, significant severe weather in this kind of setting. So we'll keep an eye on it. Nothing to worry about now, and don't cancel the weekend plans. Whatever you got planned, do not cancel them, because the trend is downward on the chance of rain, the coverage of rain, and the trend is upward on temperatures. Not great trends both ways, but the trend is there. So plan your fun weekend and go for it. Don't let your weather app with a cloud and an icon of a raindrop stop you from doing what you want to do. Just keep track of the weather. I will end now. Thank you for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. I will see you back here tomorrow morning, and we'll get into the weekend. Bye.